Morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to do a reading. I had to stop and pause then. Why am I here? Which feels like the message this week. Well, at the moment, in this current moment, I'm here to do a video on the energies collectively for this week. And as always, if they resonate, fantastic. And if they don't, they don't. Again, I cannot state this enough. You know yourself better than anybody. It is about finding those answers within, particularly this week. Now, I am, for those that watch regularly, I am slightly at an angle with this week's video, and it's because there is a ginormous spider on the net between this room and the next room. A huge web being weaved between the veils, between where we are and where we are going. And what feels really relevant is to be able to share space with that this week in particular, to sit amongst our fears. So I have a great fear of spiders, as you can tell from our whole energy in this video, but it is about finding comfort in being present and sharing space with those fears and the animal world within us. So this morning, so much has come up, but what has really come up is when all of this information is downloaded, is presented to us, it can be quite, and it's about just taking that breath, just coming back to the heart center and embracing, sharing space with the emotions that come up as a result with our inner wild. I have been bombarded on my media platforms today with images from rescue centres for animals, my own qualification as a horse healer a couple of years ago on my time hop. I've just finished watching the most incredible program called Sweet Tooth, and it is about hybrids that are born post-virus, and these beings are very much a mixture between human and animal, and that really feels like where we're headed the next 6 months in particular, and for many of us the last few years, embracing our animal connection, embracing our instinct, our emotions, and really working alongside them rather than trying to stifle them. Our inner wild, just really feeling into that, our inner wild. So a few things have come up already this week. One of them being yesterday, the electric in many areas where I live just stopped. It just stopped, huge power cut. And it feels very poignant leading up to the solar eclipse. I think it's on Thursday, almost like a reboot. It's not coincidence that it is during Mercury retrograde. I don't know the sign that it falls in, and it doesn't feel, for me personally, poignant, because it feels like we are all going to be affected. We are all being given this opportunity for a reboot, to really look at what sources our energy, what we are connected to, and how much that is affecting our life force, how open we are to this. So this morning in my own meditation and guidance, I really felt the presence of my late mother, and I really felt my heart opening yet again on another level. I found that grief is quite a transition period that seems to be ongoing, but I felt my heart open on another level. But this time it felt more gentle. This time it felt like there was a lot less barriers between myself and the love that sustains me, the love that created me. Now make of that what you will. That could be God, that could be source, that could be the earth, it could be your job, it could be your family, whatever it is that sustains you and makes you who you are. Really opening up to that this week in particular. So I can hear my dog just shaking his collar and his name tag, and really just almost shaking ourselves into the vibration of our own identity and what it is we are here to do. Now on that, the other thing that came through for me personally this week is our ability to act. So For several weeks, I've been asking for financial aid to clear some of my own debts, to pay for a monument, to mark the place where my mother now lies, and to also buy some units to store some things in to make this place a place I can work from. Last week, it all turned up, all of it, everything that I needed, and it was fantastic. And then there was the human aspect of me, the fear that didn't know where the next lot was going to come from, and the desire to hold on to it, to not actually get the things that I'd asked for just in case anything else came up. This feels really relevant. If we ask for something and we are open enough to receive it, it's a partnership with the universe, with the united verse within us, and it is then down to us to take that next step and complete the contract. That's what I feel this week. A lot of contracts completing. Complete the wheel, really go full circle and actually do the things we asked for the help for in the first place. So with that in mind, I'm going to use the tarot this week, and I'm going to use a indigenous themed tarot because I can really feel that energy coming through. I also have, did I get them down? I thought I did. I was very drawn to, yes, I did, Under the Towel. I was very drawn to pick the Kuan Yin Oracle this week as well by Alana Fairchild, the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle, because what really came through when connecting to the animal energy within us is unconditional love, but also forgiveness and compassion. And it was literally underneath the towel. So throwing in the towel now and just releasing those things that have served their purpose. So for me this week, yesterday, I closed down the online group that we're part of. And that took some doing. That did take some doing. I did for a moment believe maybe I should keep it going. Maybe there was more that could be had or offered. And this all comes from a place of not believing what had happened was enough. When in truth, to complete the contract that had been manifested and shared between some incredible souls, it empowered it to go to the next level. It empowered it to hand that energy now over to a higher version of ourselves, over to what is to come next. You know, it was my ego and my desire to hold on from a place of believing there hadn't been enough for people that actually questioned whether or not to close the group. When I went back into my heart, it was time to put the towel in with great compassion and great love for all the things that had been shared. That feels really poignant this week. So with that in mind, I'm going to have a slurp, hopefully not too loud, of my tea, and then we'll look at the energies. Okay. I feel like I want to hum. And I'm looking at a picture on my wall, and it's by the fantastic artist Patrick Gamble, who I cannot recommend enough. He also does cards and psychic artistry and readings. And it's called a Brush with Dream Time, and it's the Wolf Keeper. So there's an indigenous person there surrounded by wolves and that animal instinct again. But what I'm being really drawn to is gamble. And the longing to hum, to be at peace with the things we have gambled, to let go of any regret of how things should or could have been. There's always a far bigger picture to what is going on. So I am finding myself coming full circle over the last 10 years. Excuse me a second. ongoing thing, having these videos in 2 parts, or at least 2 parts, I hear. So that was my cat who's just jumped on the table. Hello, are you going to say hello? Oh, let's just put you down to one side. Which was just beautiful, because the card that I actually stopped on, and she's just knocked over the Strength card, which for those that know the tarot is actually a lion, and the Divine Feminine, or our higher energy. But the card I actually stopped on was the Ace of Air, and what I could really hear as she was calling was to hear our calling. To really feel into our animal instincts that are calling us now, and to bring them down, and to take time out and to be with them, I guess. Would you like to come up? Would you like to come up, the star of the show? What would you like to share? So I'm feeling a real sense of, from my cat Moot, other than being shown her back end. You know, when animals do that, it is to see how friendly someone is. And for people to assess, for animals to assess each other. I've got a hair in my mouth now. But what I felt when Moot was up on the table was that as humans, we can make things very complicated. Yeah, and just to be in that moment and just to go with what it is we are feeling, and that this is the calling within us. So with that in mind, we're going to keep everything crossed and hope that she stays down there. But she may very well get involved in the reading, which feels very poignant this week, that the animals have much to tell us for those that are willing to stop and listen, be that our own pets, creatures of the wild, or our own animal instincts. There is great knowledge and wisdom in there. So with that in mind, let's look at the energies for this week. Okay. I'm noticing, it's just sprung to my mind, a lot of people on different social media platforms using the tarot cards, which is just incredible. When you think back to centuries ago, how we would have been viewed. But I'm noticing that there's a lot of aggression, that when the cards are shuffled, it's like really a lot of aggression. And there's no judgment there, merely an awareness, a witnessing that there's a lot of fast-paced energy trying to get to answers, and that it is time to sit back and hold this wealth of knowledge with the respect and the sacredness that it deserves. Okay. You know, our subconscious, our connection to divine, whether it's God, source, spirit, animals, love, whatever, it's open to all. There are no limits. It's open to everybody. But it is about realizing there is no barrier between us and our higher guidance, and having respect for that, by having respect for ourselves and our own intuition and the messages that may come up, in particular this week. And what I feel is a real elder type energy trying to come in. Wisdom. I feel real wisdom trying to come in from the journey that many have been on. I know I can include myself in that, for over a decade now. It is coming full circle, but our lessons are only complete in the teachings that we help others with. Yeah, it is only in walking our talk that everything we've become, everything we have discovered, can truly be seen. Okay, and I'm really, really looking at the eyes of Mother Mary, a portrait done by the incredible Jane Delaford Taylor. just really looking into the soul of everything this week. I know as we go into the Lovers' Year, there is going to be much raw, naked vulnerability. And this morning on my own social media, a post came up. If we could see the beauty of each other's souls, something along those lines, rather than the physical, merely just the physical beauty, how that would really change our perspective. And that feels quite poignant from this week onwards, with ourselves included, truly seeing our own beauty. And what I'm hearing is every morning waking up and taking a good look in the mirror at ourselves, right through to our eyes, and truly seeing our own soul and giving recognition for the sacredness of who we are. Okay, well, because now I hear Kuan Yin, in order to give forgiveness, we must first, like all things, receive it from ourselves. So today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I wanted 2 for Sunday. Okay. Overall. Wow. So the first 1, 2, 3 cards actually came out reversed. And at first I thought maybe the whole pack is upside down. Maybe I should change the angle. But actually halfway through the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with the solar eclipse, the cards have become upright. So even though solar eclipses, the light is dimmed, what I'm really sensing is by dimming or having that come down, that reboot, that resurge of energy, that reconnection, everything is going to be much clearer. So on the Monday, we have transformation, which is the death card, and it's an owl going through a portal. I'm not surprised to see the animal wisdom there again with the owl, the same as last week, but this card is upside down. So what may feel like changes occurring, for me, seem to be a completion of all the things that have been shifting for some time. I would say 10 years, but actually I'm really drawn to the 13 years, an end of a cycle. On the Tuesday, there is the 8 of Cups, and what I'm feeling drawn to look at is the overall card, which is the Sun. So on the Tuesday, it's the 8 of Cups and it's stagnation, and we're talking about grief here as well, of what was. So it isn't until we truly realise that things have moved on that transformation can occur, and that stagnation of believing that nothing has changed shifts, because this card is also reversed. So, you know, grief, we imagine it is about letting go and about loss and about moving forward. My own personal experience of grief has actually connected me to my mother on a far greater level. And yes, of course, I would wish that she was here physically, of course, but our relationship seems to be becoming more than it ever could have been whilst being here. So it is really about looking at grief from a different perspective, really about looking at death from a different perspective. And with the Sun card overall, finding the light that's within that. What have you discovered? When we realize what we've discovered through our changes, that's when the ultimate change actually occurs, and we stop repeating the same cycles. That may be difficult for some on the Wednesday because we have the 4 of Earth, which in this deck is the medicine wheel. And what I'm hearing is, why are you not showing the cards? And it feels quite poignant to keep our cards close to our chest for the first half of the week. The 4 of Earth, the security, is actually reversed. So really, really, really looking into the security, or perceived almost illusionary security, that we believe we are getting subconsciously by repeating the same lessons. On many levels we can want change, but actually if nothing changes, we can say that nothing changed and we did the best that we could. So it is really about looking at what gives you security this week. Does it? Does it give you security? Has it helped you move forward? Has there been transformation? Because on the Thursday with the solar eclipse, we have the 3 of fire, which is integrity. And that really feels like midway through the week, everything starts to slot together. Everything can almost loose ends. That's what I hear. The word loose ends can be tied into place, and realize that they were never loose ends in the beginning. And now I feel drawn to turn the cards upside down. So when we notice the things that we believed gave us security don't actually give us security, it's not that we let them go, we can see them from all angles as part of the journey. That's when we bring everything together. That's when we get almost that aha moment in time, that epiphany that actually everything has led us to where we need to be, including the shadow, including the things that we fear, has all led us to this moment of integrity, of truth. Not truth as in my nice bits or even my shadow bits. I do a lot of shadow work and I'm a lot more drawn to that, but truth as in they are all sides of the same coin. And real deep acceptance of that on Thursday. Unconditional love, that's what I feel, and the wisdom, the transformation, the security that can come from that, and then the moving forward from stagnation. When we find unconditional love for ourselves, for others, for the things that we do, we connect to this deeper yearning and calling within us. This is what I'm here for. And that's different for us all, but it is about deep acceptance by the Thursday. On the Friday, we have the 8 of fire, which is insight. Now, even though the solar eclipse is on the Thursday, it almost looks like the effects come into play truly on the Friday. The light returns on the Friday. I would say it's a heavy week, but it isn't. The cards were actually reversed, so we can believe that it's going to be a heavy week. We can make it harder than it needs to be. And isn't that the tale of life? Isn't that the insight of it all? That we often make things harder than they need to be. And it feels like when that light finally returns within us, that power surge, that connection to who we are beyond all of the separation and the journeys and the stories that we've inherited, when that comes into place, Friday, absolutely. It's quick, it's gorgeous, it's light, it's just... well, it is what the beginning of the week promised to be, that transformation on the Friday. On the Saturday, there's the Lovers card. So obviously once this happens, there are choices to be made. Do I go back? Do I go back to how things were? It really feels like that's not going to be an option. That once we experience this upload, I've always called it downloads, but this feels like an upload, like a conversation almost with spirit, with our higher self. Okay, I've realized everything I needed to learn. Now this is what I need from our higher selves to move forward. Once we experience this, it does feel like there is no going back on the Saturday. And based on that, there are choices to be made. On the Sunday, 6 of Pentacles, 6 of Earth, breakthrough. I love how these cards are all so sun related. So on the Sunday, we have that growth that comes from really embracing the eclipse within us as well as around us, really embracing our own darkness to find the light by the Sunday and really growing from that united integrity, that united authenticity, that space within us. I wanted to pick 2 cards for the Sunday, and the reason being is it is the Shaman, the Hierophant, again for Sunday. So that seems to be an ongoing theme for the last 2 weeks, and we have the Wolf here. We have the Wolf Keeper. We have that brush with dream time. We have that ability to walk the realms with our animal instinct, with our inner wild, with that wisdom that comes from speaking the language of unconditional love. You know, a lot of the things that came up on my social media today related to animals, there were horrendous stories of what these creatures had been through, these sentient beings, our ancestors, our relations, what they had been through. But the focus wasn't on that. It was on their ability to still trust, on their ability to heal, on their ability to move forward and teach us how to do that. Teach us how to love again, how to walk the darkness, but also be the light. And animals have that incredible ability. So do we. So do we. And like the program the other day, the Sweet Tooth program, we are now hybrids post-virus, in that whether you've taken the vaccine, had the virus, not taken the vaccine, we have changed. We have evolved. We have developed. Nothing is the same now, and it's about really bringing that into our reality on the Sunday in order to have that breakthrough that we're looking for. So overall, the Sun card. So the eclipse on Thursday, obviously with the proper equipment, the safety equipments, I would totally recommend getting out in it safely, you know, following guidelines and all that kind of thing, but really embracing it. And I'll put a link to an exercise that I do on a regular basis called embracing the sun, and using it to feed our energy centers, to cleanse our energy centers, and to cleanse our vision. We come from the sun, from the great central sun, and that is the same energy as our soul. And that really feels poignant this week, a deep connection to the energy of our soul on all levels, in particular the physical level. So, excuse me. Now, with that in mind, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcanas, solid foundation. Yeah, it's really, there's nothing more to be said to that. Solid foundation now to move forward. And that is the Sun, the Death card, the Lovers, and the Shaman, or the Hierophant. And what I'm really sensing here is, on the Sun card, there's the hummingbird. And there's cactus, and life is prickly, life is hard, but it always gives us the water of life that we need to continue moving forward. And there's always beauty in the flowers of our life and our soul that can be found along the way, but we must choose the hero's journey. We must choose to walk alongside our ancestors, Siwa Kenti, the hummingbird, to feed from the nectar of life. That is up to us. It is up to us to see the light that we are, that life is. It is then we discover the true wisdom of transformation. Yeah, it is then we can walk through that portal or that veil where that spider is sat, weaving the next story into the next room, into the next womb. That's what I hear, into the next life, into the next creative ability, and the relationship between us and the already ascended earth. We also have the Lovers and the Shaman, and what I'm really feeling here is a choice. It is a choice to be the teacher that you actually are. It is a choice to know the lessons that you have learned and realize that you are actually the exam in all that you do, all that you say, all that you decide. So on a minor arcana level, on a human level, there is the 8 of Cups and the 4 of Coins. Why I wanted to put them together, I normally split them into elements, but it feels quite relevant to just put them together to start off with. The 8 of Cups and the 4 of Coins. Letting go of what gave you security now, by realizing not that it isn't relevant, but that it isn't enough. And that's okay. We have grown. We have evolved in whatever way. It's different for everybody. Things have changed, and what once fed us no longer does. So it is really, I almost see like a crowning. It is really, breakthrough, really pushing through now our own imposed barriers. And it really feels relevant that they are self-imposed based on beliefs and judgments. So the 2 cards that I've also put together are the 3 of Fire and the 8 of Fire, which is integrity and insight. Bringing it back to all those things you have discovered, your own inner tuition now, and being authentic in that feels really poignant this week if we're going to get the breakthrough that we're looking for, if we're going to step into the shamans that we are, if we are going to walk the medicine wheel and the medicine path. You know, really making the choice to say, I know what is best for me. Feels really, really powerful this week, but also very completed, finalized. So overall, so I just needed to wait for my husband to come back in, the return of the masculine, the return of that light. And it was just as I was about to say overall, and that's what it feels like overall, the return of the light in our actions, in our masculine, in the solar eclipse, in that reboot of what it is we are connecting to, what it is that, is the other half of what we're trying to conceive here, based upon our actions. So we have 1 water card, 2 earth cards, and 2 wand cards. It does come back to self-care again with the 1 water card. It does come back to balance with the 2 earth cards and the 2 wand cards. I'm looking at the 8 of water, the stagnation, the grief card, the moving forward card, and I'm looking at the moon on the transformation death card. And what I can clearly see here is it's from now until the new moon that we embrace the light within. It's going to make what it is we manifest from the new moon onwards a lot quicker, a lot easier, more authentic. And the last thing that I'm looking at is the 6 of earth, the breakthrough. And what I'm really seeing here is not only being held, not only the sunflowers that come from, obviously, the sun, but the difference between these 2 cards, standing in our shadow, standing in whatever is eclipsed within us this week as part of who we are, as part of the light that we bring. So, okay. I was going to pull 1 more card just to bring things together, to take us from that solid foundation through to the 5 that we're actually in. And it is a major arcana. It is on top of the calling card that we started with originally, and it is the Fool. It's time for that new journey now. It's time for that fresh way of seeing things, but it doesn't feel relevant to the world as such, but ourselves. Really, really time to lighten up, to realize that joy can be sacred as well, that the light and the shadow can both have fulfillment and joy within them. How? By connecting to our animal instincts, by connecting to the universal language. So now I hear the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle, and I think we'll close it on whatever card comes up. I'm again looking at the word of gamble and limited edition. Really, really taking the risk now, knowing that you are a one-off, that everyone here is a one-off, and taking a gamble on yourself. It was the first card I was actually going to pick, and I've shuffled and it's come straight back up to the surface again. Above you, the Lantern Dancer. And here I see the White Buffalo Calf and White Buffalo Calf Woman, White Brotherhood. But actually, physically, it is the human now that almost guides this energy forward. And that feels quite relevant this week to connect to your place within your own spiritual beliefs. Connect to your role and the light that you have brought to those that have guided you. So let's have a look and see what Alana, I can feel the top of my head being rubbed gently. Look beyond what appears to be. Guiding grace like a star in the sky shows the way through what is happening now. I am the Lantern Dancer, lighting the way to a new path, a new reality for you. So it's going back to that full energy. Even when the moon is full and you believe that you see all as it is, I know that there's something far more beautiful happening. Trust me, and I will show you. So the guidance that Alana speaks of, there are times when we feel as though nothing seems to be flowing. So again, it's going back to believing that nothing has changed, when in reality, this is an illusion. We encounter obstacles and closed doors. We wait for another door to open, but nothing seems to be happening. We may begin to doubt ourselves and whether our dreams are even possible. The oracle of above you, the lantern dancer, brings you a message. Things are not as they seem right now. You may think you have the whole picture in mind, but there are other factors at play that you cannot clearly see yet. I really feel that. I really feel like I need to pull another card, but I also feel trust that actually it's not time yet. Let go of your fixed opinions and worries. Trust in the power of the divine to work things out in the best possible way. You don't have to work out the solution yourself. You just need to trust your inner guidance and allow yourself to be led. And I really want to reiterate here, because I almost felt like a knee-jerk reaction, like you don't have to work out the solution. Isn't that quite a controlling way of being? Remember the sentence after. You need to trust your inner guidance and allow yourself to be led. The energy this week doesn't feel as if handing over our power to the powers that be, but moreover collecting it back, knowing it was always there, and trusting ourselves to be our own leaders in our actions this week. It feels like that is what needs to come to light more than anything, the awareness of that. The path you are taking needs to twist and turn a little before your success can come. There are certain elements that need to be integrated, certain people that need to become involved. Feels like that will be brought to light midweek by the solar eclipse, that epiphany moment, that aha moment. Trust in this. It will happen as a natural coinciding of people, opportunities, and events according to a divine plan. How exciting! Yeah, how exciting to know that actually, one, we're not on our own. All these things depend on other people, and that it's coming, and that something far greater than us is going to initiate that, but that it's our role to take those steps, to act on the intuition. If we do not do that, we will never meet these people. We will never gain these opportunities. Trust, it's all working out. Trust in that and let the peace come to your body, mind, and soul. So Alana, with these cards, I'm going to show you the picture of them. They're absolutely beautiful. Now, Alana Fairchild, with every card, suggests at the end a blessing or healing process. So this one, with your feet on the floor, just take a moment. Place your hand on your heart and take in 3 slow breaths. And now say aloud or quietly in your mind, or allow the words to come from my voice for you. I call on Kuan Yin, her wild soul, the lantern dancer who loves me unconditionally. Please show me with mercy and grace whatever I need to see or understand to have faith in what is happening. Help me find the highest path here, the path of light, of least resistance, to more effortlessly manifest the intentions of my heart. So be it. You know, when we believe that we're alone and we're the only ones that are doing it, that doing what we need to do, that really comes from a place of fear and from lack. Forgive yourself. Show yourself compassion. Ask for help. Be open to receive it, and then follow through with your actions. Really, really important to follow through with your actions. Often we believe we're not getting the answers that we need or want, but if we really hone in, we haven't actually taken the actions that we promised we would do when we asked for what it was we asked for. So acknowledging your responsibility as part of the co-creator will really help us to know that we're not alone, that the results are there and they are changing. But it takes us to acknowledge that we're part of the team. Take care, and I'll speak to you next week.